Welcome back. Apologies for that. We continue with our final segment, the market analysis. Sifiso Nsibande was just explaining on what to expect on next week's budget, South African budget speech. Sifiso, you were explaining, what we can expect next week.
Yeah. So next week we are expecting the Minister of Finance to actually table a combination or a balance between fiscal consolidation, which is trying to much as possible to reduce debt, but also initiatives that will bolster economic growth. We're not expecting much of tax hikes because being a GNU, we know that in the past the DA has been resistant to that, and they don't want to shock the public in terms of tax hikes. But we are expecting that there will be a bigger allocation in terms of infrastructure, energy and mining, coming out of the mining indaba actually in South Africa, where they were actually thinking about carbon tax that's going to be removed, especially for the likes of Sasol. So that's going to be, we are all looking forward to that, and it's going to be a very interesting budget speech actually coming up next week.
All right. In the interest of time, so let's just go over today's numbers, starting off with the equities. What's happening there today?
Yeah. So with the equities, there's a couple of things that are actually happening. Number one being investors are actually sort of concerned about the big spending on AI. I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about AI. Yeah. So the software sectors or companies are actually having hundreds of billions of spend on AI. That has actually caused investors not to put in money in those sectors because they're actually thinking that there's not going to be much value, or the spend is not going to be equated to the benefit out of that because of the impact AI is going to have. So there's a lot of uncertainty about AI. So I think those sectors are actually coming under pressure right now. So it is actually muting, or rather causing the S&P 500, for an example, not to do very well. If you look at the FTSE 100, there was a bit of improvement there, mainly because the top 100 that are listed in the London Stock Exchange are actually international companies. So once there's an improvement in terms of macro factors, you tend to see the FTSE 100 actually doing slightly better. The JSE slightly coming down with the anticipation of actually what's going to be happening in South Africa next week. But I must say that there is a slight improvement because of the overall improvement because of the dollar that is actually also coming under pressure. So that is actually, so there's a little bit of some jitters actually happening on the JSE at this point in time.
So we want to commodities now.
Yeah. So gold, we saw gold also gaining once again because of the concerns that they actually have in terms of Iran and the US. So gold gained, but it's actually lower than the $5,000 per ounce mark that we were last week, but it's better than what it actually was yesterday. Brent crude sort of stable because of positive information that's coming out of the negotiations between Iran and the US in terms of what's going to be happening with the concessions that speaks to what do you call it? What Iran is supposed to actually stop producing in terms of nuclear weapons. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
So that's what's actually coming out of that space. Yeah,
and then lastly, we take a look at currencies this afternoon.
Yeah. So the dollar and the rand, it's been a yo-yo. If you're looking at 15.96 right now, but we were actually sitting at 16 just yesterday and the day before. So the dollar is a little bit strong. Because they were expecting positive minutes coming out of the Federal Reserve minutes, where there's going to be clarity in terms of what the interest rate's going to be like going forward. Because we're still in an environment where there are going to be interest rates cuts, probably for the rest of the year. But those minutes are yet to be released. But there is an expectation that the minutes will favor interest rate cuts, which then borders well for the dollar, and that's why it's coming out positive.
Okay.
With the British pound, a little bit of some concerns there. The inflation numbers that are actually coming out are positive, but the rest of the other data that's coming out of the UK is giving mixed signals. So investors are just staying away, being wary of that space. And that's why we are seeing the British pound actually coming under pressure.
All right. Thank you, Sfiso, for unpacking that for us today. Well, there you have it, today's market analysis. And unfortunately, we've come to the end of our program. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you get that overdraft. Do visit any Nebank branch for more details. We've had a lovely time here with you today. We'll see you again next week, Wednesday at exactly 2 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Make better money choices. Choose a bank that takes your money seriously. Business Watch was brought to you by Nebank.